Today is Monday, Parashat Behaalotecha. Parasha begins with the mitzvah of lighting the menorah in the Mishkan. Aaron HaKohen lit it every day. But the question is asked, many times we look for the reason for the connection, or the connection between the end of last week's parasha and the beginning of this week's parasha. The end of last week's parasha speaks about the offerings that the heads of the tribes, the head of every tribe, brought an offering to the Mishkan for the inauguration, for the big celebration of inaugurating the Mishkan. According to Rashi, Aaron HaKohen was somewhat saddened by the fact, he was somewhat unhappy about the fact that all the tribes brought the offerings, but what about Shevet Levi and what about himself? And Hashem told him, your mitzvah is even greater than theirs, because your mitzvah will be done daily. There are sometimes huge celebration at the inauguration of a project. What's important is not just the inauguration, is what comes daily afterwards. And that was something that Aaron was given as a mitzvah to be performed on a daily basis to light the menorah. But a very important lesson to learn from this portion here in the parasha of this week. The pasuk reads, "Vayas ken Aaron el mul penei menorah ela nerotea ka'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe." And Aaron did exactly as he was asked by Moshe, that he lit the menorah daily. But why would we think otherwise? Of course, if Moshe instructed him to light the menorah, for sure Aaron would do it. But here, our commentators explain that this is to come to praise Aaron, that he did not deviate. He did exactly as he was asked, even though he had to clean the menorah every day, and in his position of Kohen Gadol, he could have delegated it to somebody else. That's one explanation, but there is yet another explanation. He did the mitzvah of lighting the menorah for all the 39 years that he did with the same enthusiasm daily as he did on the first day that he lit the menorah. Unfortunately, sometimes people, the beginning of a project and doing something for the first time, a mitzvah that is done for the first time, has so much excitement with it and so much enthusiasm associated with it. But when it becomes something that you do every day, every single day, over time, that excitement wanes. That excitement sort of like becomes dull to some extent. Like, I've been there, done that, nothing so new, so exciting. But Aaron teaches us that when you do a mitzvah, the attitude with which you do the mitzvah, the enthusiasm that you involved in the mitzvah is very important. And a person should make every effort to continue, even though a mitzvah is done many, many times day after day, to still bring within it the kind of intention, the kind of kavanah, the kind of attitude, the kind of simcha, of joy in doing the mitzvah. Because after all, it's not just about the technical and mechanical doing of the mitzvah that is important. Yes, you have to do the mitzvah as you're instructed. But very much so, very important, the attitude with which you do the mitzvah. In last week's parasha, we read about the Leviim and the job of the Leviim. And one of the psukim says, La'avod avodat avodah. Very repetitious. To do the work, to work the work. And there, Rashi explains that the Leviim had musical instruments and singing, so they brought a flavor of joy into the service in the Mishkan. And also in the mitzvot that we do, we should always bring that aspect of meaning of that we're fulfilling something very important in serving Hashem, in doing the mitzvot that Hashem commanded us, that they should be done with enthusiasm and with focus and with a feeling that how fortunate we are that we're doing it. And that's one of the lessons from the parasha of this week. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.